Welcome to this week's episode of Maroon TV News. I'm Liz Stark.
And I'm Mike Basleo.
And here are today's top stories.
The Council on University Programming held their annual Cubia Festival this week. Students woke up at the crack of dawn to calisthenics, dancing, martial arts, and other exercises at Henry Crown Fieldhouse. Cubia culminated Friday morning with a trek to Promontory Point, where students saluted the sun. The event is considered a rite of passage for many students in the college.
On Friday, business fraternity Alpha Kappa Psi held a game night that brought both students and professors to the Reynolds Club for rounds of poker, Settlers of Catan, Trivial Pursuit, and more. We were there for the report.
Friday night at Hutch Commons was all fun and games as business fraternity AK Psi brought students and professors together for a fundraiser to kick off their rush week. Settlers of Catan, chess, Trivial Pursuit, and Cards Against Humanity were just a few of the games being offered along with snacks and accompanying music from the Dirt Red Brass Band. AK Psi President Michelle Rodriguez told us about how planners decided on the games selected for play.
We had a variety of games. We didn't stick to classic casino games because we wanted things there that everyone could enjoy. So we had everything from Cards Against Humanity to chess to poker. So a pretty wide variety.
Second year, Evan Zimmerman spent a good amount of time playing poker against other students and shared some of his strategies.
So the thing with poker is that we aren't playing with chips we won with, so people are a lot more reckless. So the trick is basically to be even more reckless than they think that you should be, even with the chips. And in the end, that'll scare a lot of people.
Rodriguez hopes that the event interested potential pledges for the new co-ed professional fraternity, which holds weekly private events for members.
We're a pretty young organization on campus, so we had 2 rush classes last year that went really well, but we're looking to really increase our numbers. We have about 45 members right now, and we want to bump that up a little.
Interested students should keep an eye on campus bulletin boards and check out uchicagoaksi.com for information on joining and future events. For Maroon TV News, I'm Crystal Lee.
The Chinese Undergraduate Student Union, CUSA, held their annual show this Saturday night in Mandel Hall. Titled Doctor Who, the performance featured a new incarnation of the titular doctor working with 2 new companions, named James and Ash, who try to save China from an evil opium dealer. CUSA also offered a free Chinatown meal to everyone in attendance before the show.
South Campus, East Council hosted its annual semi-formal Yule Ball Saturday night. The Yule Ball is modeled after the Yule Ball in the Harry Potter series. Students enjoyed a magical night of music, dancing, and food in South Campus Dining Hall.
On Friday, our men and women's basketball teams took on New York University in 2014's Neon Night doubleheader. Alex Soteropoulos was there to capture the action.
The raucous UChicago student body was in full force on Friday for the 2nd annual Neon Night, the conference home opening basketball games against New York University. The blaring pep band and enthusiastic cheerleaders can be heard at several varsity athletic events, but Neon Night was the one night where the student body unified to cheer on the teams.
Every year it gets to be more and more people, which is awesome. We have an amazing athletics program, and it's really just great to see people in support of that. Our athletes work so hard, so it's great to see such student kind of camaraderie and support.
Aside from the game itself, students were treated with best dressed in basketball competitions, along with giveaways including hats, t-shirts, and you guessed it, pizza. While the women's team lost a heartbreaker 89-87, with the crowd's help, the men's team pulled away in the final 5 minutes for a 58-50 win.
When there's people in the stands, like there is during an event like Neon Night, there's always just a little bit extra juice. You can really tell during warm-ups, everyone's jumping a little bit higher, moving a little bit faster, and we were fortunate enough to have that carry into the game. So it's when people come, it definitely helps.
This was truly a night that UChicago basketball fans will never forget. From the Ratner Center, Alex Soteropoulos, Maroon TV News.
On Wednesday, Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick spoke at Rockefeller Chapel as part of this year's annual Martin Luther King commemoration celebration. Sean Graff was there for the report.
58 years ago, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. came to the University of Chicago to speak about his goals for the nation. Today, his legacy continues as Deval Patrick, governor of Massachusetts, came to the University of Chicago to speak about the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. In his speech at Rockefeller Memorial Chapel, Governor Deval Patrick spoke about King's legacy of advocating for service to a large crowd filled with students and community members.
Dr. King was about service not as what you do, but as who you are.
To serve others, Patrick said, does not require a fancy degree or some other form of great qualification. All that is needed to serve others is a heart full of grace. Patrick said King reminded us of this when he brought love into the public discourse.
Without love, it's hard to make sense of compassion itself, or common destiny, or community.
Patrick concluded by saying that Dr. King taught us that service is powerful, and as governor he has tried to draw attention to the power of service in order to further carry out King's legacy of continuing to fight for a more equitable world. Governor Patrick's trip to the University of Chicago represents a form of homecoming for him. Until the age of 14, Patrick lived on the south side of Chicago and even once went to hear Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. speak at a local park with his mom. And while Patrick admits that he does not remember a word King said, he does remember the feeling and the importance of service that King spoke of so much. From Rockefeller Chapel, I'm Sean Graff with Maroon TV News.
Remember the glory days of middle school dances? UChicago's WYSE hosted a middle school dance fundraiser on Saturday night in McCormick Tribune Lounge, complete with Chipotle, board games, and classic middle school songs. Formerly known as Women and Youth Supporting Each Other, WYSE is dedicated to empowering the community through mentorship to young women in Little Village. For more information about WYSE, check out ucwyse.wordpress.com.
Up next is our first installment of the U Chicago series, where we send reporters onto campus to hear from you. This week I asked students, what is your favorite winter tradition at U Chicago?
My favorite winter tradition is playing basketball with and for Midway House.
Dancing in the snow with friends.
I prefer to stay home or in the library to read some books or watch the football games. And also running along the lake in the morning is a pretty good choice for me.
So I'd have to say my favorite winter tradition is Cuvia. So I'm a fourth year, but I've only gone to it twice. But I really think that's a great thing that we should keep doing. It's good to get exercise in the winter. It helps you not be depressed.
My favorite winter tradition in Chicago is definitely Restaurant Week, because a lot of really good restaurants have really steep discounts on their food, so you get to try them out when normally it would be really, really expensive. So last year I went to this restaurant called Boca, and it's a Michelin-star rated restaurant, and the food was delicious and it was pretty cheap, so it was perfect.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Maroon TV News. I'm Liz Stark.
And I'm Mike Basilio. Have a great week.